revenues and expenditures. Year to date, our net effect is currently still in a positive balance of 87,000. For our general revenues, we're still running about 45% of our annual budget. And then some of those main drivers to point out, which would be important for you to know, would be that some of our sales tax and property tax are doing better than we expected despite of COVID. So that's something to make note of since it's not something that we would have initially expected. Now on the expenditure side, we're running at about 43% of our annual budget right now. So what does that mean? That just means that we're paying out some of the recurring vendors that we have, some of the smaller businesses, and no anomalies popped up this month in regards to the vendors. I would just say that it's the recurring items that we see on our warrant listing. There's nothing new to pop up. So that's for the general fund right now. I'll jump into the next one, which is pretty big, which is the water enterprise fund. Sorry about that. So I'll just give you a quick overview there. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Year to date, our net effect is still positive. We're at 292,000 on a positive balance there. Our water revenues are right about 56% of our annual budget. So that's quite as expected per what we initially listed on our budget. And for our water expenses, it's at 45% of our annual budget. So nothing out of the ordinary there. So that's kind of what I have for the water enterprise fund. Now, our last one that I wanted to point out, which is still under the enterprise funds, it's the sewer one. We could discuss that pretty briefly. Year to date, our net effect is still positive, a positive balance of 155,000. We did have slightly higher expenditures, and I'll talk about that briefly down below as I get into it. But for our sewer revenues, we're running at about 48% of our annual budget. So you'll be able to see what it is that we're bringing in on a monthly or year-to-date basis of 558,000. And then for our expenditure side, it was a little higher than we expected. It was at a 54%. I would say that was a little higher just because we had some unforeseen repair and maintenance costs, which is why the expenses were slightly higher. That's a given. It's going to happen. We did put it into the budget, but it's anomalies that pop up sometimes that we can't forecast for that matter. And yeah, those are the main things that I wanted to point out. Any questions that I can answer right now, feel free to let me know.
Councilmember Edge, do you have any comments, questions, concerns?
I don't have any questions. The only comment I have is great job, Michelle. Thank you so much for a great job. Well done.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels?
No questions. Thank you for a thorough report. We appreciate it.
Councilmember Freeman?
I just ditto what the other two council people said. It's the best report we've had in 3 or 4 years. Thank you.
Councilmember Flores? Sorry, Vice Mayor Flores. My bad.
No question, no comments. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Do I have any comments, questions, or concerns from the public? Doesn't sound like it. Closing public comment. Michelle, thank you so much. That was, I think, one of our first ones.
Awesome. I hope to improve on that. And if you guys have any questions at any point in time, feel free to just email me, call me. The phone number is listed on our portal, but for those listening, it's City Treasurer at San Juan Bautista. So happy to answer any questions and guide you to the right person if I don't know the answer. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. City Manager's report. You're on mute. You're on mute. There we go.
First and foremost, thank you for bearing with us as we try this upgrade of the Zoom software. I have had the live stream on my PC. In fact, it's live streaming right now, but it's on my PC, but people are telling me it's not. So I just need to figure out how to do this better so we can live stream on Facebook. Because it seems like it should be on live right now. Oh, wait a minute. Let me try it. There's a go live button. Okay. That should be working. We should be streaming live on Facebook right now.
Webinar is now streaming live on Facebook.
Job, Don.
So it's been a challenge. I've been fielding texts from a lot of different people during this whole meeting so far, as we all adjust to this upgrade. So thank you for your help. Yes, the webinar is now streaming live on Facebook. Okay, good. Just in time for me. This is a very busy agenda, and most everything I'm working on is on this agenda. Next, I just wanted to remind or let people know that next Tuesday, we move two critical items off of this agenda. One is our mid-year budget update, and second is our review of our strategic goals for the City Council. We reviewed them with the Planning Commission and Historic Resources Board on February 2nd, and promising them that we were going to come back tonight and present their feedback to the council as we consider our goals and priorities for the year. Because I think they surely have changed since last year, but many of them still remain the same. The very first goal was maintaining partnerships and building partnerships. And through COVID, we found a bunch of new partners. So we're doing that, and that's good. So please stay tuned with us next week as we look at our budget. As the city treasurer presented, our city budget is doing much better than expected, but we'll go through that in detail and be able to focus on those two items then. Includes the proposition of a new planning director position to help manage a myriad of planning objectives that the HRB and Planning Commission considered February 2nd. So that is next week on the 23rd. I will be out of the office on the 22nd. So if you have any questions, at least get them to me after lunch and I'll get back to you. So just a quick announcement. Okay, with that, Mayor, I'm ready to proceed. And any questions? Thank you.
Councilmember Edge, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions at all. Just keep the good work up, Don, City Manager. Thank you.
Councilmember Flores.
No comments. Thank you.
Councilmember Friels.
No comments, thanks.
Councilmember Freeman.
No questions or comments today?
Thank you very much. I don't either. Thank you very much, City Manager. Reports from the City Council representatives to regional organizations and committees. Councilmember Edge.
I have a meeting tomorrow with the Seniors Council, and we do a lot in falls prevention, and we're going to be covering the foster grandparents program, which is something that has been on hold since COVID. We're working with several projects, our budget. So we'll be working on that. And then I have COG coming up on Thursday. That's it.
Vice Mayor Flores.
Yes, I attended a CMAP meeting, the first one of I guess we hadn't had a representative there for a while. So anyway, and I also attended the AMBAG as a alternate for Councilman Freeman. But he was there as well. I just was there nosing around. That's it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels.
I guess this time we had a meeting, the cannabis. John, do you want to talk about it, or do you want me to hit a couple points, or?
That's you. I think you're.
Okay, yeah, we had a meeting with the folks that own the Midnight Express Trucking, and they changed the name. Apparently they have a new name for the company, or that's listed there at the address. Don, do you remember how to pronounce it? I don't think I pronounced it correctly. Is it Kula Farms?
It's got a T in it, so it's Colta Farms.
Colta Farms.
Incorporated, became an incorporation in September 2020. And the Roscos, the property owners, are those who own the business, apparently.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, the meeting went a little long, overflowed a little bit. the project is a heck of a lot bigger than I think any of us anticipated. And there's still a lot of issues that they need to resolve, mainly fixing some issues that they created themselves. They're under the impression that all 18 acres is buildable, but I think that might be a little bit of a overstatement. They were talking about 5 greenhouses. Sorry, I'm not looking at I'm reading my thing. 5 greenhouses total, and I think was it 6 or 7 warehouses. It's going to be a pretty substantial. John, what was the square footage? Was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was 2-story. I thought it was 8, but maybe it's only 7. It was, to me, that was a larger than expected number.
Yeah, so it was a pretty lofty project. So I think we've got a ways to go on this if it even happens. I assume we're probably going to have another meeting with them. I could get into the weeds with it, but I think David helped them out a little bit in the realization that their build out might be a little too big. I mean, and the water usage was going to be pretty extensive. So I think they have some more homework to do before they come back to us. But it was a good meeting, informative, that's for sure. That's about all I got.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, I attended an AMBAG meeting last week with Councilman Flores, and AMBAG is on the board of the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary, and they discussed improvements to the bay and such, and stuff like that, and that'll be coming up next month. I'm an alternate on that committee, and I hope I never go. It's too confusing. But the main item for the night was the Metropolitan Transportation Improvement Program, which is a 5-year program of all the projects in the Tri-County area, that Tri-County, Santa Cruz County, Monterey County, and San Benito County. So a few numbers for you to give you an idea of what's happening. San Benito gets 8% of all the projects, and that is 7% of all the projects, and that's 8 projects. And they also get about 7% of the money. Santa Cruz gets 40% of the money and 41% of the projects, and the rest, 51% and 52 projects, goes to Monterey County. So you can see who gets most of the money and most of the work. But we're going to approve it in the next couple of months, and that's a big thing for AMBAG. That's kind of their reason for existing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I was at the San Benito County Water Association, and not a whole lot going on because of COVID. There's very few on-site inspections for irrigation and leaks within houses. Just waiting for San Juan to start getting rid of water softeners. They're gearing up for it. Okay. Action items. Approve resolution 2021-05, changing signature responsibilities on city bank accounts at Union Bank. City Manager.
Hi, thank you, Mayor, members of the City Council. Let me bring up, I have a slide presentation for the council meeting tonight. Let me just grab that and start it up for you so I can share my screen. In summary, we have had as many as 5 or 6 signatories on our signature card, and it's kind of like the keys to the church, where you find out that the whole community has the key to the church. We try and limit access, and it's come to find that a lot of boards that Wendy Cumming, our CPA, works with, keep that number from 5 down to 3. 3 city managers ago, the city manager was added to the list. So we have been carrying Mary Edge and John Freeman, Cesar Flores, myself, and the city treasurer, Chuck Geiger, for the last while. And then, of course, with the re-election, everything changed. So the question was, let's clean up and get back to mayor and vice mayor and treasurer, and whether or not the city manager needs to be on it could be the council's choice, but we don't have a policy for it. And so that's where we are. We're recommending continuing, or actually the staff report recommends continuing Councilmember Freeman, but not continuing Councilmember Edge. It's up to the council, but maybe we keep Councilmember Edge. It's easier for staff to find someone to sign checks if we have more people on there, but we want to maintain a policy and a security going forward. So, of course, my PowerPoint isn't starting now. God. I'm sorry. No, now it's starting twice. All right, bear with me. So that's, so it's up to the council. If we want to keep more than 5, that's fine. If we want to keep the city manager on there, that's fine. I already approve and review all the checks that are, all the warrants that come in for check requests. So, so it's not necessary for me to be on there. In fact, it may be redundant. So with that, let me see now if I can share my screen. And I still cannot. Because my PowerPoint is not booting. Okay. Oh, gosh, I'm already exhausted. I'm only on the second item. %. 91%. Okay.
Our computer's fine.
Sorry about that.
Here it comes.
Yeah, I see it. Sorry. Okay. So there we go. There's a summary of 5A. Mayor, vice mayor, and treasurer, 3 members. Keep 2 additional for a total of 5. Freeman and Edge express interest in being signers, and then have staff just write up a quick little policy for you guys. So that's where we are with just check the signatures. We'll be adding, of course, our new treasurer and our new vice mayor and mayor. So with that, that's my report. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments, concern, Councilmember Edge?
You know, if this is going to cause such a problem, I'll just, you guys can remove me. It's fine.
Vice Mayor Flores?
I agree with Don, the more the merrier, make it a lot easier to get checks signed. So we should just keep the additional,
Additional 2 members. Okay.
yeah.
Councilmember Friels? Oh, sorry.
We can eliminate any backup. You know, I know that sometimes they need signatures for the checks, and the checks need to go out, and there's no one available right then and there. They have to hold up on them, so that's my 2 cents worth.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Friels?
No, I don't have any comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
No real comments. I agree with Councilman Flores. The more the better. It just makes it a little easier. And I think we all have the good of the city in mind. So I check the checks out in the documentary, backup paperwork attached to them pretty regularly.
Thank you. Okay, so we're gonna have mayor, vice mayor, treasurer, Edge, Freeman, no city manager. Is that my understanding?
That's great.
Thank you. Questions, comments, or concerns from the public? Okay, no public. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay,
Don, were you saying something?
Jackie Morris is trying to say something.
Jackie has her hand up. I went ahead and allowed to talk. Go ahead, Jackie.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Good evening. This is Jackie Morris Lopez, resident of San Juan. So I just had a question. Is there a dollar amount that triggers the 5 signatures on the checks?
Misunderstanding. Go ahead, Don.
Only 2.
Yeah, every check requires 2 signatures. And so the challenge is finding 2 people who are available to sign the checks. So if we have a pool of 5 to pick from, it's easier to find 2 who can.
Okay, so there is no dollar amount involved.
No,
I mean, you don't have the approval or the ability to sign off on a check without triggering 2 more oversight signatures at a certain amount. That doesn't trigger, like, say you can sign all checks for under 10 grand or 5 grand. Is there a limit?
No, every check needs 2 signatures.
Okay, thank you.
So Jackie, I might add that I've signed checks for as low as $5 and as much as $150,000.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other questions, comments, or concerns from the public? Okay, I will entertain a motion for 5A.
I'll move to approve the resolution 5A.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Trish, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously 5-0. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 5B, approved resolution 2021-06, authorizing the acceptance and to acknowledge receipt of a report by the fire chief of Hollister Fire Department regarding the inspection of certain occupancies required annual pursuant to section 13146.2 and 13146.3 of the California Health and Safety Code. City manager, will that be you or?
It's me, Charlie, with the fire department. Can you guys see me and hear me? I should be in Don's.
Yes.
Okay, there you are. You're here.
He's better looking, but I'm right here. Charlie Reynolds or Don Bedolla, whichever one, Chief Don. Okay, just real quick, this resolution is authorizing the acceptance of, to acknowledge the receipt of reports made by us regarding the inspections of certain occupancies required annually. That was added to the California Health and Safety Code. I'll just let you know, after the 2016 ghost ship fire in Oakland that killed 36 people, Senator Jerry Hill introduced the Senate Bill 1205. The Fire Protection Services Compliance Reporting Bill was passed and added to the state Health and Safety Code last year. So what it says is the Health and Safety Code was added in 2018 and became effective to September of 2018. It said the code requires that all fire departments that provide fire protection services to provide annual inspections in every building used as public or private school, hotel, motel, lodging house, apartment house, and certain residential care facilities to comply under the standards as provided in the Health and Safety Code. It requires all fire departments that provide fire protection services to report annually on this. So basically what this says is you do your inspections and you have to bring it up to the board for approval. And with that, we have to give the reason, we have to give a report whether we did it or we didn't, because they want to hold somebody accountable. When the Ghost Ship fire happened, there was a lot of finger pointings. So, but there was a lot of from the fire department, they were making requests. Hey, we need more personnel. Hey, this is a fire hazard. Hey, we got this going on. And they weren't able to accomplish those goals and complete their jobs. So when it came down to it, everyone was held accountable for it. So they want to make sure that I'm able to do my job. I'm able to have the personnel and the tools to do my job. And if I don't, then I have to bring it to you to say, hey, I wasn't able to do this because of this, this, and this. So I've had to do it in all three jurisdictions. We have done. So we've actually done it in 2018, but we actually recorded everything in 2019. So we're bringing last year's report, and then we're doing 2020, which we did in December also, November, December. We did those. So as of 2019, we did 3 of the 3 schools. We did 23 of 23 of the hotels, motels, apartments, residential adult care and care facilities. And then in the jails, there's nothing, for a total of 26 of 26. The same thing for this year. We did 3 of 3, which is all the schools, because there's the 2 schools and the school offices that count. Apartments, we did duplexes on up. We're still working to build that list up because the current list that we have only lists 23 apartments and on up. So we were trying to hit everything from duplexes on up. So that for what we have on us is what we completed was the list. So we're trying to build up on that list, even if we have to get out there, boots on the ground next year, or actually coming up soon to go inspect, because I know there's a lot of downtown places. The same thing, a threeplex on up is the one that's mandated, but we're going to duplexes too. There was some concern that we're going to hotel apartment complexes if there was an invasion of privacy. Well, we'll go in there and we'll talk to people if they want to talk to us. But for the most part, we're putting on the inspection forms that everyone has to check their smoke detectors. Everyone has to check, certain things annually to make sure they work for the year. So there was a whole list of stuff. So we're throwing it on them. We're not actually going in, knocking on the door and demanding that we do come in. So when we're out there, a lot of people are compliant and glad to see us anyway. So, and that's all I have. So actually overall, we have well over 500 mandated inspections that need to get completed throughout the county. That includes the city of Hollister, San Benito County, and the city of San Juan Bautista. And there is a cost recovery that we can go after or recover. We haven't done that in the last couple of years, especially this year due to COVID. So it's just for our inspection fees and everything, but that's something that we're going to try to recover to be able to get the personnel and everything to assist with us on those inspections. But for now, we're not doing cost recovery on this. Is there any questions? So I'm just bringing this to you. We completed them and we did it, and we'll do it again next year. So this is something that'll be ongoing every year. We give the report to you and you acknowledge and you accept it.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
I just have one small question.
Sure.
Hang on 1 second, John. Can we go in order, please? Sorry, I have a list. Councilmember Edge, any questions, comments, or concerns?
No, I'm just curious, Charlie, how many duplexes and apartments do we have total in San Juan Bautista?
The list that I have we received, there was only 23, and that's triplexes on up. But I know just driving around through town, we have more duplexes and triplexes on that. So we're gonna have to get in, we're gonna have to talk with the assessor's office to see exactly, and we've been trying to make contact with the county assessor's office to make contact to see if we could find all those. And next year, I'm sure it'll be going up.
So have you inspected San Juan Bautista yet, or are you still, is that still in the making?
No, the report's done for this last year, and then we're prepping for next year's.
Okay,
The fluid list.
okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores?
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels?
Thank you, Charlie. Appreciate it, man. I know how much work that is. As if you didn't have enough work, you know, they got to pile some more on you.
I love coming here to San Juan, so there's no problem with that.
Yeah, good answer there. All right, well, yeah, thank you. And just so you know, guys, I've done these inspections, and some of them are entertaining, and some of them are a little scary sometimes. So I appreciate it, Charlie. Have a good night, buddy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Freeman?
Yes, thank you, Charlie, for doing it. I was just wondering if the inspection list includes Airbnb units and short-term rentals and things like that.
No, Airbnb aren't on there yet.
Okay.
But there's nothing to say that it can be.
And thank you for doing it. I know it's, like Scott said, it's a big job. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Not on the list as in they're not covered under.
No, they're not state mandated yet on the Airbnbs, but it's a
Okay.
fluid list, so it could be one of those things that they're still working on because they still don't know how to address it on the Airbnbs. That was a question that did come up on it.
Okay, great. Thank you for that. And you're in 100% compliance with all of your inspections. Are all of your inspections in 100% compliance?
Oh, no. That's why we're gonna be, so I have about 550 inspection forms that we have to go out and start making all the envelopes out to mail them out. So we'll send them out to all the business owners, all the property owners. So that's in our process, in our to-do list within the next couple of weeks, because weed abatement starts soon. So we want to try to hit that out before weed abatement.
Okay, okay. Okay, great. Thank you very much. Is there any public question, comments, or concerns? None? Okay. Thank
Hold
you.
on.
Oh,
Jackie.
go ahead, Jackie.
Councilman Freeman, thanks for asking that question, because that was one of the questions I had about the Airbnb, because I feel they do pose a potential risk. They're in neighborhoods, and sometimes they are, more dense in a single dwelling, or several dwellings on maybe a neighborhood. My other question is, what about the ADUs that are built in the new housing developments? Are they on the list for inspection?
No, they're not. That's a different requirement, because ADUs don't have to be sprinklered. They can be sprinkled depending if the main house is sprinkled. Right now, we're looking into multiple housings. So we're looking for downtown businesses that are converted over to housing. Anything from a triplex and above is what's mandated to inspect.
Thank you.
But we're doing duplexes too, as a courtesy, because those are multifamily livings too. That's just a bonus.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, I will entertain a motion to approve resolution 2021-06.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve 5B as stated.
Thank you
I'll
very
second
much.
that.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes,
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes,
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I
Action
also,
item.
I also have one thing to report real quick, just to let you guys know. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
Chief Bob Martin Del Campo, he's on active duty orders right now. So right now, he's going to be on orders for the next 9 months till the end of September. He is at the War College in Pennsylvania. So he's still available by emails. He's still doing some work remotely, but he's full-time into the military right now. And from this time on, I was appointed as the interim fire chief. If anything does change, I will let you guys know. So I'm always available to you. You can still get a hold of the chief, but I will be in that position unless something else has changed. I just got notified today that that's what's going to happen.
Good luck and congratulations. Stay
Thank you. I
safe.
appreciate that. If anything does change though, I'll make sure everyone knows.
My condolences, Charlie.
Thank you. Someone that appreciates it. I appreciate
No
that.
overtime, no overtime.
Yeah, no, they said, here you go.
Wish him well for us, okay?
I will. And I think he might be watching.
And
He said
you
he-
take care.
Thank you. Okay, take care. Have a good night.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
See ya, thanks.
Thank you, Acting Chief. Okay, great, all right.
Okay, action item 5C, appoint a member of the community to the Urban Growth Boundary Ad Hoc Committee. City Manager, you want to take this one?
Sure. Our deadline was Friday, the 12th, and we promised the city council that we would stick to our deadline. And so we did, and unfortunately, we had no applications by the deadline. We had an application come to us Monday afternoon, but we can't consider that tonight. And so in conversation with the mayor, we thought maybe it would be best to extend the deadline just until this Friday, the 19th, in case there are other applicants who are still interested. And then at that point, the mayor can look through what applications we have as of 5 p.m. or lunch, whatever day is, whatever time of day works good. But give folks just one more shot, one more bite at the apple before we go out and just appoint someone. So, and then there was some consideration of allowing the existing UGB members to look at those applicants for their input. So with that, my request of the council tonight is to extend the deadline for the ad hoc committee community at large member applications to be Friday the 19th. And that is a simple one-page application, but it requires a signature and it basically commits the person to serve on that committee by signature. So that's the importance of the format, and it's important that the formality be followed through. So we want to stick to our deadline. We learned, we are licking our wounds from the meeting on the 19th of January and trying a different approach this time. Any questions?
Questions, comments, concerns? Councilmember Edge?
No comment, no questions. I think it's a fair thing to do, so.
Thank you. Councilman, Vice Mayor Flores?
Yeah, I think we should extend the deadline.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels?
No comments, thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
I'm in favor of extending the deadline to the 19th, although I think we should set a hard time and it should be like 12 o'clock. Otherwise, you'll get it after 5 minutes after 5, and everyone's going home on a Friday.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Friday at noon, right after lunch. Deadline is the deadline. There's no more extensions. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the community?
Hands, Mayor.
No, thank you very much. I'm closing public comment. Can I get a motion to extend the application deadline until Friday at 1 p.m.?
So moved.
Thank you very much. Can I have a second, please?
I'll second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
yes,
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. 5D, adopt resolution 2021-07, authorizing the city manager to execute a consulting service agreement with Stantec Consulting Services, Inc. For the preparation of a complete bid package and provide construction support for San Juan Bautista to Hollister Sanitary Sewer Forced Main Project. City manager?
Thank you, Mayor. I wanted to introduce this item in reference to two other items that are on our agenda. And I'm sorry, I did not group them together so we could think of them all at once. In fact, one of the final items talks about how we would pay for this project. So we have a simple flow chart in this presentation that I'll share with you that describes the whole thing. We also have a representative from Stantec, Stephen Beck, who spoke to this council before. I've invited him to talk, and hopefully that works. Stephen, can you hear us? Are you there? Okay, we'll play it by ear. As you know, a little bit of background, just so everyone is on the same page, that we're working hard towards gaining compliance on the Water Board EPA permit at the wastewater treatment plant. We executed an administrative order on consent with the EPA August 2020. Preliminary engineers report provided various options for solving both our drinking water and our wastewater treatment options. So we had a big town hall meeting October 8th. About 50 people attended. And from that, we had at City Council October 15th, the council selected 2 compliance projects, specifically regionalizing our water. One regionalizes the domestic sewer treatment by opting to send our domestic sewage to the Hollister Regional Plant. One regionalizes the import of our drinking water by importing drinking water from the West Hills Treatment Plant in San Benito County Water District. And these are the maps that we've used in our plans. The dark green line is the line that seems to be our alignment choice through county roads because it's easier and less expensive than sending it through the Caltrans highway. And it doesn't have to rely on Caltrans and timing. So it would be more time efficient. And then the bottom line, it shows the water coming from the West Hills Treatment Plant. So that's what we mean by regionalization. And the city then will just manage the collection of wastewater and then the shipping it to the regional plant in Hollister. So working with partners, we're working with the city of Hollister to send it to okay, I've already said that, and I've already said that. On February 1st, we presented the wastewater project to the city of Hollister City Council. They seemed receptive, didn't have very many questions. And then tonight's agenda includes a memorandum of understanding to import water with the San Benito County Water District. That's item 5E on this agenda. And then basically this matter summarizes a request for proposals for the sewer project design that went out in December. We got 2 really good responses. Both engineering firms had worked with the EPA before, and the EPA supported our selection of either firm. We had interviews, and that's what we're here to report the award. So in general, this is a summary of what we're working on. And we have the fiscal strategy tonight on the agenda in the form of an agreement, second agreement with Cal Muni to look into issuing debt for these projects. Then we have the importing better source water on our calendar tonight. And then this export domestic wastewater design project. All of these have a feasibility section to them that sends about 30% of the construction design for the 2 import and export projects at August. So the August milestones are the next bump for us to get over, and this will start us towards that project for our source water and our wastewater. So these are big items on tonight's agenda, and that's just a summary of where we are. And Stephen, if you are online, hopefully you are. Let me see what I can do about that.
Sure, I don't see Stephen's name, but there are some phone numbers. Do you know which phone? Does he have a 916 number?
I believe it's, well, there's two 916 numbers.
One might be Gabe and then the other one.
Okay, so Gabe or Stephen, can you hear us?
If not, I can go through this one.
Okay.
They may be able to hear you, but if they're not a panelist, they can't speak back.
Well, Julie is also on with us. I have a backup this time because the sheriff is working on a homicide. So unfortunately, didn't have a backup for the sheriff. Julie, did you want to proceed? I'm sorry that I don't know why they can't talk.
Sure.
Okay, I'm muted. Go ahead.
Great. Can you go? Good evening, Mayor Jordan, members of the council. The item before you tonight is, I think as Don mentioned and went through the background, was awarding a contract to Stantec for performing the design for our project that is San Juan Bautista to Hollister. And this is a sanitary sewer force main. And as you all are aware, we have been working with Stantec for a while. They have helped us with putting our sewer master plan together, doing the feasibility study for us throughout the city. So we are pretty much familiar with them, but I would like to go to a little bit talk about their organization. And then I get into the scope of services that they're going to be providing part of this contract. And then at the end, we can maybe quickly go through the project schedule. So with that, again, Stantec is a pretty big company. It's one of the biggest company that I have worked with. They have been in business for 70 years. They have extensive experience in both water and sewer. And they have over 4,600 engineers throughout the United States and about 250 just in California. And they have recently completed a similar project for the city of Lincoln, which is similar scope of work. And they are going to pump their sewage and make that regionalizing their sewage treatment plant. Very similar project. Next. Okay. So these are, I think, as we just mentioned, Stantec has a lot of experience and they have worked on a lot of similar projects like the one that we have. And they do have very extensive experience in industrial discharge knowledge and industrial pretreatment experience. And they will be helping us to go through that task. They are going to be helping us to give us support for NPDES permit. We are, as Don showed you the exhibit earlier, we are looking at a couple alternatives, whether we're going to go through the county road or whether we're going to go through the agricultural properties. They will be helping us to go through those alternatives. They have helped us, assisted us in the past with our master plan. As you are aware, we have applied to USDA for funding, and they will be also supporting us going through that process with USDA. They have been involved with the meetings that we had with Hollister, and also their staff and the team has visited the wastewater treatment plant as well as the pipeline alignment. Next slide. Dawn is helping me to move to the, right. Okay, this slide just shows you the team that they have assigned, Stantec assigned to this project. Pretty big team. What the goal was when we put the request for proposal together, we tried to include all the tasks that needs to be done for this project under the same umbrella that is going to be managed by Stantec. That includes design, project management. If we need to have any appraisal done, if we need to have right-of-way acquisition, that's all included in this proposal. Environmental, getting permits from different agencies, working with utility companies. And in this slide, it basically summarized all the tasks that Stantec is going to be taking care of, part of this project. Next slide. And again, we talked about it. This is the scope of services that Stantec will be completing for this project. Project management, they will be taking care of the topo mapping, the topography mapping, and also preserving all the survey monuments out there. They will be taking care of all the research, talking to different agencies to get permits, and also coordinating with utility companies. One of the other tasks would be the environmental services, of course, for this project. And if we need any property acquisition services, if we need any appraisal report, that's also included in this proposal. And of course, at the end, once they collected all the information, they will work on the design. And once they put together the bid package, we will send the project out to bid to have it publicly bid, and they will be helping us with bidding services. And we could utilize their services during the constructions, and this is the, I believe, the schedule that Dawn went through it before. We're looking at, would you like to, or
Just,
do you want to touch?
just as this chart was modified to move that pink line down to August. So we confirmed that with the EPA today. It's okay to have this 30% design done in August.
Okay, great.
All right.
Great, that concludes our slides. So again, the action before you tonight is to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a consultant agreement. And the proposal that we have received, it's in the amount, the cost of the proposal is not to exceed $1,066,410. But as we mentioned before, we are looking at different alternatives. So we are still negotiating with Stantec, and the cost will be finalized after we have reviewed all the proposed alternatives. So the item before you is requesting the city council to authorize the city manager to negotiate a final cost and execute an agreement with Stantec. And I believe Dawn has already covered the financing portion of it, which is going to be under a different items, right? With that, I'll be more than happy to answer any question you may have.
Thank you very much. Questions, comments, concern, Councilmember Edge.
I don't have any questions or comments. Just Julie, thank you for a fine presentation. Very nice.
Right, thank you.
Vice Mayor Flores.
No comments or questions. Thank you very much for your presentation.
Councilmember Friels.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Thank you, Julie, for a great report. And did you say the contract is not to exceed contract?
Correct. The proposal that we received, Councilmember Freeman, is the consultant has selected an alternative, and they made certain assumptions for property acquisition and doing the appraisal. And the cost of the proposal at this point is right now is $1,066,410. But we will be negotiating with them, and once we select an alternative and we have a better understanding of whether we need any right-of-way acquisition, how much of an environment do we need, then we could negotiate with them and finalize the contract cost. And at that point, we can go ahead and proceed to execute a contract with them. But at this point, the dollar amount is not to exceed $1,066,410.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you, Julie. Do we have any public comment?
Yes. Sorry, I can't hear you.
Okay, no public comment. I'm closing public comment. Can I have a motion to adopt resolution 2021-07 authorizing the city manager to execute a consulting service agreement with Stantec Consulting Services Group for the preparation of complete bid package and provide construction support for the San Juan Bautista to Hollister Sanitary Sewer Force Main Project.
So moved.
Thank you very much,
Second.
Councilmember Freeman. Do I have a second, please?
Yes, second.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor Flores. Can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Scott.
Mute.
Yes, I'm tired.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Stantec. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
5E, approve resolution 2021-08, authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with San Benito County Water District for the source water compliance project. City manager, take it away.
Jackie Morris Lopez asked to speak on that last item. I'm not sure why that didn't happen, but.
Sorry, I can't see
We can't
speakers.
hear you.
Sorry, I didn't see Jackie's hand. Sorry, Jackie.
Okay. Can you?
Hi, sure.
We can't hear you, Dawn. Want to try again, Dawn?
He's working on it, Liz.
See you, but we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
We can hear you now.
Yes.
I have no idea why you can hear me now. I just.
Maybe now you're.
Glad you guys can find the humor in that. Fine. All right. So memorandum of understanding launches a drinking water project with the San Benito County Water District. It authorizes the design of the water line to the city, and it consists of two parts. The first part initiates the design. San Benito County Water District is ready to issue an agreement for 30% completion, a value of about $180,000 that would work on the same things we talked about for the wastewater project. It's going to work on our the land acquisition, the best route, and the cost estimated to bring the pipeline 6 miles from the West Hills treatment plant. At 30% completion, they will stop and they will come to the city council and the water board, 2 separate meetings, and discuss feasibility and discuss potential costs for the project. And if it's deemed to be feasible, the project will continue to a permanent agreement while a permanent agreement is negotiated. And there is a Hollister regional water agreement already in place for use of the West Hills water treatment plant with the city of Hollister and the Sunny Slope Water District. And it's to be a similar agreement where it talks about permanent costs going forward, per acre foot, the return of the capital improvements, et cetera. And so that's where we're heading with this MOU to get the project started. And we have Jeff Gattano on the call with us, and maybe Jeff, you want to elaborate and share with us more on this concept. That would be great.
Yeah, sure, Don. So sorry, I'm having to do it kind of in separate pieces here. I couldn't get my microphone to work off my computer, so I'm doing it. You're getting the audio on my phone and the video part in my computer. But like Dawn said, you know, the 30% design, we've already looked at a really high level of what it would be to connect to the West Hills treatment plant. The big issue was for us how to make that connection, and is it feasible to make a connection to that treatment plant to be able to bring water to San Juan Bautista. So we did that initial high level work. That didn't take a lot. It was only about $10,000 that we put into that. We had the consultant that did the design for the treatment plant, looked at it, said, yes, it does look feasible. The next step now is to go into this 30% design, where we will be looking at a more detailed level of what the connection would be to the treatment plant and the alignment and 30% design of the pipeline. One of the keys that's going to be important for this project for all of us is for you, San Juan Bautista, to be able to give us what your demand projections are expected to be over the planning horizon that we're looking at. And right now, with the city of Hollister and Sunny Slope County Water District, our planning horizon is about 2030 to 2035. So we need to be able to incorporate your numbers in there so that we can look at what the impact of that is for future expansions of our water supply and our water treatment capabilities are going to be. But like Dawn said, you know, I think it's all very doable. We've looked at generally what your current demands are, and so I just need to understand now from your planning work what your future demands are going to be, so we can incorporate that piece of it into this 30% design and the cost estimates. Again, you know, the water district is really looking forward to this. I think it's a great project between the water supply and the wastewater treatment component of it. I think you guys are on the right track. And I think it's going to be a project that when everybody's done, they're going to look back and say, wow, that was a really good decision. So if there's any questions from any of you that you have about this detail about the water district and what we're planning on doing, I can enter into those now.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Councilmember Edge, questions, comments, concerns?
I actually don't have any questions or comments. Just thank you very much, Jeff, for your presentation.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores?
No comments or questions. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels?
No comments right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Thank you, Jeff, for the great presentation. No questions.
Thank you. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns from the public?
Don't see any, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I have no further questions either. Thank you very much for the presentation, City Manager and Jeff Catana from San Benito County Water District. I will now entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2021-08, authorizing the execution of memorandum of understanding with the San Benito County Water District for a source water compliance project.
So moved.
Thank you very much.
Second.
Thank you. May I have a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, may I ask for a change in order on the agenda? Could we?
Absolutely.
Could we skip to G and then come back to parklets?
Yes.
That way we can just move right into the financing and we could be done with water. That would
Perfect.
be-
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
5G, approve resolution 2021-09, preliminary intention to proceed with the issuance of series 2021 bond anticipation notes to finance the city sewer compliance project, sending the wastewater to the regional plant in Hollister and appointing the necessary consultants in connection therewith.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, the first slide provides a little bit of background, but this time from a focus on financing. Back in September 30th, 2020, we completed a USDA loan and grant application. That was returned to us incomplete, and we knew it would, but we met the deadline. So the bottom line is we're in process working with the USDA. We spoke with them several times last week, and I'll be talking to them again tomorrow. They're interested in that preliminary engineers report and helping us get that into shape so that they can pass it up to their senior engineer. And they're also interested in a rate study that we're working on. The Regional Quality Control Board, we submitted 2 applications for grants and loans there. One to support the water project and buy down some of the debt from the water district. And the second is to do the same for the sewer project. Those were submitted on time by the December 31st deadline, and we haven't heard yet back from the Water Quality Control Board. So we're looking at every possibility we can find to create permanent financing for this project in both federal and state resources. We are working on a new rate study with Bottle Wells. We've had several conversations moving that project almost to the point of a draft study. And when we get that draft study, we'll be able to finalize the USDA application. Of course, one of the hard parts in the rate study, we have just begun talking to the city of Hollister, and we need to identify proposed costs for sending our water to them on an operational basis and get down to some details with the city manager. And I talked about this last week, negotiating an agreement. So remember, we just talked to them February 1st, so there hasn't been a lot of time to present them with the draft MOU yet, much like the one that we've already approved today. So the EPA requires us to develop a comprehensive financial plan for the entire project, both water and wastewater. And in order to get that done, we awarded an agreement to California Municipal Advisors, a firm uniquely qualified to advise local government. We did that January 19th. But the city needs funding now to pay for the design of the sewer project. About $1 million as referenced by our city engineer. And it turns out the city needs, now I've learned as about 10 days ago, that we need to fund the whole project and prove to the USDA that we can fund the whole project up front, and then they would come in with permanent financing. So to do that, we need bridge financing, a construction loan essentially. And when the project is done, the USDA and other resources will step up to provide the long-term debt. So the state and federal help arrives in hopefully the fall of 2021 and the summer of 2022 for the state money. And with this, we're only considering borrowing what is needed for the sewer project because interest rates are so low. And that allows us at that 30% threshold, if suddenly things change, a chance to turn around. So we're not looking to issue bonds for a lot of money. We just issue as much as we need when we need it. Like a line of credit, like having a line of credit on your house. So we will also continue to explore grants and other opportunities. And there may be opportunities unforetold with our industrial users to explore the equity there, to make sure that our industrial users are paying for the share of wastewater that they send to us. And then there are other partnerships possible as well. So I think there's a lot of potential with our industrial users to get them to be public-private partners in this effort. And I say that because about 60% to 70% of our wastewater comes from the industrial users, but they're paying far less than that in fees right now. So I've asked the fee study to focus on making that more equitable so that they pay their share of the stuff, of the sewage that we process. And with that, we're lucky to have on board, actually as part of the screen, it took them quite a while to figure it out, but we have Dmitry Semenov from Cal Muni Advisors and Cameron Weiss from the Weiss Law Firm, who worked with us in 2016. So with that, Cameron or Dmitry, did you want to, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I have the slides ready. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yep.
Perfect. I cannot share the slides. Can someone enable access for me to share my screen?
Right now. Here you go.
Perfect. Can you see this?
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yes.
All right.
Just getting warmed up here.
Just 1 second. All right. Okay. Thank you, Don. Thank you, members of the council. This is a quick overview of the financing process for the interim financing that's related to the sewer compliance project. So I'll give a little bit of background, explain how the process works, explain the costs, when they're due, how they're paid, and then we can answer any questions as well. I'm Cameron Weiss is on the line also to answer the questions. So basically, the city is seeking to finance the sewer compliance project with the U.S. Department of Agriculture, the USDA low interest rate long-term loan. So that's the process that Don has taken everybody through. So in the last couple of years, the USDA has gotten really serious about requiring all agencies to obtain their own interim bridge financing for the project design and construction. So it used to be a while back, they used to provide that type of financing, no more. They are requiring anybody who's borrowing money from them to go into the financial markets and get interim financing. And once the project is completed and all USDA conditions have been satisfied, then the USDA money comes in, pays off the interim financing, and you have the long-term debt on your books that you repay at very low interest rates. So, and typically the interim financing is done with what they call bond anticipation notes. And in reality, most often they take on the form of a bank line of credit. So the reason why a bank line of credit is a good solution is because it comes with a lot of advantages. You have usually very flexible prepayment terms, more flexible than what you can get in the bond market. You're likely to be able to draw down funds as necessary. The line of credit concept. You only take out what you need, and you only pay interest on what you've taken out. So that results in interest savings comparing to borrowing the entire amount up front. The banks are usually pretty fast turning around credit requests. It's relatively easy in terms of execution, and you only make interest-only payments until maturity or takeout. So there is no principal that needs to be paid down. And banks are offering this at very competitive tax-exempt interest rates. So that's the idea, is while you need the funds to cover the cost of the design, the cost of the construction, you go out to the bank market and you solicit bids. You solicit proposals from a wide group of banks that specialize in lending to public agencies. And they come in with the proposals and you select the best bid and you move forward with that. So that's the idea. And once the project is completed and you've met all the USDA conditions, the USDA provides the permanent takeout financing, the line of credit is repaid, it's gone, and you only owe money to the USDA. So to make this whole the whole process happen, you need to have 2 people or 2 members on your financing team. You need to have a municipal advisor. In this case, our firm, California Municipal Advisors. We're a fiduciary to the city. We are required by law to look out for your best interest. And our role would be to advise the city on the financing plan, assist with the preparation of the bank RFP, and help evaluate the proposals. We also provide support to the city during the bank's due diligence and loan closing process, making sure that the whole financing transaction goes smoothly and you get the result that you're looking for. And then also we're always on the lookout for your financial and policy interests. And another member of the financing team is the bond counsel, the Weiss law firm, also by law required to be a fiduciary to the city and look out for the city's best interest. And the bond counsel firm provides legal advice to the city and also prepares all the financing documents and issues legal and tax opinions. So those are the requirements of legal borrowings by public agencies. So those are the 2 key members of your financing team. The total cost of issuance for getting a line of credit with a bank, depending on the specific banks, depending on the specific structure, you're probably looking at about $65,000 to $75,000. And those fees are only paid only if the financing closes, and they're paid from the financing proceeds. And that includes the fees of the municipal advisor, the bond counsel, any legal counsel that the bank may have. The state of California charges a fee as well. So all those fees are covered in that amount. And then depending on the prepayment flexibility, some banks may ask for an additional loan fee. So that is not included in that estimate. But regardless, all that will be covered by the financing proceeds and only will be paid if the financing closes. So there is no cost to the city unless the financing comes through. And then to give you a quick overview of the financing process, it takes about 60 to 90 days. And really the critical path item here is the completion of the rate study. It's a very important document that the banks will want to have completed or approved by the time that they provide the financing, because that's what gives them the assurance that the city has taken the right steps to ensure that there is sufficient revenues to pay off the debt. So, but looking at the process overall, you start with appointing the financing team. That's what's on the agenda tonight. Then we'll be working with the staff to develop the plan of finance. Also help prepare the city, help the city prepare and distribute the request for proposals to the banks. And then usually banks take 2 to 3 weeks to respond. You receive the proposals, select the winning bid, and lock the interest rate. So that will be an action of the council. So this is not the final vote that you're taking. You will still have 2 more looks at this transaction before it closes. So once the winning bid is selected and the bid is awarded, the bond counsel starts drafting up the documents. And at the same time, we're working with the city to go through the lender's due diligence process and obtaining the credit approval from the bank's credit administration. Once that is done, once again, the item goes back to the council with the final financing documents. You will have a chance to review them, discuss them, ask questions, and approve them. And only once that second approval is done will the financing close and you'll be able to move forward. So that's the overview of the process. And with that, Cameron and I are ready to answer any questions.
Thank you very much for that presentation. Councilmember Edge, questions, comments, concerns?
No, I don't have any comments or questions. Just thank you very much for the presentation, Dimitri. Thank you for being patient and waiting for us all this time too.
Oh, this is great.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores, questions, comments, concerns?
questions or concerns? Thank you very much. Good presentation.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Yes, I have a question. You said that the banks rely heavily on the rate study that's presently being done. And as I understand it, we're, I don't know, halfway through the process, maybe 60% through the process. I'm not certain. Can we do those other steps in between? Can we walk and chew bubble gum at the same time and do those other steps while the organization is doing the rate study, is doing their rate study? Can you put all the stuff together and just kind of leave an open space in the file for the rate study and slide it in as it comes?
Right, that's the plan. But you definitely want the rate study to be done and approved and things in place so that the bank that does the financing has the assurance that there is enough revenues coming in to ensure the repayment.
Thank you.
That rate study is also being used for feasibility for both projects also.
That is correct.
Is it guaranteed that USDA will pay up afterwards? If everything is put in, the city takes care of it, we get all the monies up front. Is it guaranteed that the USDA will?
Yes, Mayor, I would like to answer that. This is Cameron Lease Bond Counsel. Looks like my monitor, something's up with it. So I apologize for that. But yeah, the answer to it is unfortunately no. And so the way that we have to draft these documents is to have a backup contingency plan. And that's again why the rate study is so important and critical to this process, because if that were to happen, which we've never experienced it, and USDA is very good at working with agencies. They've been doing it for a long time, and they really want to see you succeed. So I'm not a doomsdayer here, but I just, as a legal advisor here, just saying, to answer your question, no, it's not guaranteed, but we do put countermeasures in place so that you're not left in a lurch in case that were to happen.
Thank you very much for that. Do we have any questions, comments, or concerns from the public?
I don't see any, Mayor.
Thank you very much. I'm closing public comments. Can I please have a motion to approve resolution 2021-09, preliminary intention to proceed with issuance of series 2021 bond anticipation notes to finance the city's.
I move 5G as stated.
Thank you. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Scott. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Councilmember Edge?
Yes.
Councilmember Flores?
Yes.
Councilmember Friels?
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman?
Mute.
You're muted.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, yes, yes.
And Mayor Jordan?
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
5F, consider a recommendation by the Planning Commission to approve resolution 2021-10, extending the term of temporary parklets on 3rd Street 180 days or until September 30th. City Manager.
Thank you. Thank you for your last action. Right, so this matter is coming to you as a result of a few things. As a result of COVID-19, first and foremost.
Brought to you by-
There we go. Back in May, the city council approved a resolution allowing the transformation of Third Street from 2 lanes to 1, creating space for parklets to be designed. And the Historic Resources Board approved draft guidelines in June 2020. We established a business forum. We've met 37 times in the past 8 months, led by our community liaison. The HRB and Planning Commission discussed the notion of making the parklets permanent at their February 2nd, 2021 HRB Planning Commission meeting. And it was at that meeting the Planning Commission approved a resolution recommending the extension of the parklets for 6 months, 180 days until September 30th, 2021. That meeting was a good discussion because it brought forward some of the concerns of a long-term goal of having a downtown plan, a downtown vision that took care of everything from utilities to traffic circulation to parking to housing downtown, branding our downtown. It doesn't need one. It's got a wonderful historic brand. So how to make that more vibrant and noticeable. So we talked about the long-term 5 to 10 year goal. And then we talked about a short-term remedy for helping businesses now. And at this time, it's for both retail and food service businesses. And that recommendation went forward to a joint town hall meeting between the HRB Planning Commission City Council on the 9th, 1 week ago tonight. We had 37 people in that meeting, including both commission and council. We talked about these same issues, and we had a lot of really good feedback on the 9th for things to consider. Some of those things include, first of all, a lot of support. A lot of support from Alpaca Retail, Doña Esther's, Mrs. B's, and the goal was to help our businesses stay open and to help our businesses use their parklets to the best of their ability, because at the time being, that's all that they can do. There's no inside dining. So we talked about different ways to do that. We had the city attorney on, and we had the David Mack, our city planner, on, and the issue came up around future development in our downtown and the cost and the hoops that a future developer would have to jump through. So if someone came to develop the property on the Alameda on Pierce Street, and they wanted to put in 3 stories and they wanted mixed use, they'd be required 1.5 parking spots for every apartment they put, every bed that they put upstairs, and that would make it difficult and expensive perhaps for them to provide adequate parking for their new development, because the parklets have taken up roughly 15 spaces. And we're working on, the city engineer is working hard on a proposal for our mid-year budget discussion next Tuesday of about $20,000 to create additional angle parking in the downtown to replace almost all of the current spaces occupied by parklets. So we would have angled parking on Muckalemme, angled parking at Franklin and the Alameda, and then further down by the soccer field. In our last business forum and parklet subcommittee meeting last week, we had our traffic engineer, Keith Higgins, on the phone with us, and got excited about even further development of parking in conjunction with the school district. So I need to be talking to the school district about putting asphalt where the soccer field is and having a center lane of parking there, and also extending that parking over to where the preschool was. So I haven't had those conversations with the school district yet, but it's just some of the potential, and it's just some of the good things that come from having the whole community involved in this conversation. So we haven't been shy, we haven't been secretive, we've been trying to get everyone's opinion at every step of the way. But to get these major planning studies initiated, it was Commissioner Baines who recommended we do a feasibility study. We should be starting that July 1 with a serious budget consideration with our new fiscal year. But what do we do now? So with vaccinations rolling out slowly but surely, the idea to have a 6-month extension into September made sense to the Planning Commission and HRB. And so they're bringing that recommendation forward to the council tonight. So that's the extent of my report. We're just talking about the 6-month extension tonight and adopting a resolution extending it from March 30th to September 30th. So with that, council member and mayor, I'm happy to answer any questions. We have David Mack and Deborah Mall here. If you want to talk about their specific concerns, they're available at your expense. So there you go. Thank you.
Very much. Questions, comments, concerns, Councilmember Edge?
I just have one, just a concern. I have been approached by a community member wanting to know if we're going to have more town hall meetings. So it's my understanding that we will have more town hall meetings.
Yes. The way I'm accustomed to doing what I refer to as a charrette is to have specific groups invited so that they feel comfortable amongst their peers. So if we wanted to talk to a certain neighborhood in town, then we would just have those 10 or 20 homeowners and renters come to a little meeting in someone's living room even, and even do those bilingual. And from that, you bring all these different feedback together and you find the common threads between each. So that's the way we were doing design charrettes back in 2005, 2006, and that would be an appropriate measure here. Because that way we can time it for Saturday morning, or we can time it for after church on Sunday when it works for each stakeholder group. For example, our Wednesday morning meetings aren't the best time for restaurant owners, but we do get good representation from the San Juan Committee and from Fran reporting for the food and beverage industry. So, but we have to go that extra mile and actually go and seek the feedback instead of waiting for it to come to us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores?
Comments, but I'm ready to make a motion.
Councilmember Friels?
Just that the last meeting, the joint session was very informative. It was, I think it was an eye opener for a lot of members of the public on how difficult it is actually to do stuff like this, and it just doesn't happen overnight. But I'm ready to move on to extension. It's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
You're muted.
I'll agree with Scott completely and the others. I'd just like to concentrate on maybe during this 6-month period of getting our parking plan together. If we're not going to use the one that was developed a couple of years ago, amend that or do a new one. And
right.
We need to concentrate on that parking issue. Just changing things to a diagonal, while it might add a few more spaces, that's not the ultimate answer. But I'm in favor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any comments from the public?
Hands.
No hands?
No hands. I can't believe it.
Thank you very much. I'm closing public comment. I would like to now have
one hand. Sorry, I'm sorry.
Oh, that came in close. Go ahead.
Jackie Morris Lopez, go ahead.
Thank you, Jackie. Go ahead.
She's muted.
I don't need to further comment. I did share at the joint meeting. I'm just speaking now as a resident, but I think, do you have any written or email comments by the public that you want to share? Did anyone receive any? It's just my question.
Yes, we do. And I sent those to the deputy city clerk, so they will be on the file. We got approximately 6 voicemails forwarded to us in support of permanent parklets.
That's a general statement, city manager. Is there any way that we could, for full transparency, have those read? The new format is kind of difficult because we don't see who is here, how many people are attending, and that kind of limits the transparency when we don't know what the comments were that are read.
Right, I understand. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
We have Fran Fitzharris, Brewery 25.
Hi, everybody. I know you probably were all shocked that nobody had comments, but I just wanted to express that many of us in the hospitality industry with parklets, we've been on just about every meeting on this topic and have expressed our story time over time. And so that's a big part of why you're not hearing it tonight. We feel like we've really given you guys a good understanding of what's needed, and you guys have responded by extending the parklets, and we appreciate that. And also the idea of working on a bigger plan, our next level. So that's why. But thank you so much. And everything we've seen on social media and talking with people, it's all very positive. And of course, there's things that we need to adjust and account for, and we have the right group to do that here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Have Yolanda Delgado.
Yolanda, go ahead. Yolanda, can you unmute yourself?
Let's see if I can help. Maybe I can help.
Hi.
There you go.
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize on the parklets and the transparency and opening it up more I'm talking as a resident right now, not as a commissioner. But I like this new format what we're having, and it was difficult, but I, as a commissioner, have issues not knowing who's on the Facebook or the Zoom because I don't want to violate the Brown Act. And I'm really concerned about that. So is there some way we can is it okay that, I heard Jackie and then I didn't even know I just came up to this because my heart is on F5. So is there any violations? Is there any more commissioners on board? I don't want to violate the Brown Act.
So you don't violate the Brown Act if you're attending the meeting of the board, the same city board of a city board, and the meeting was open and noticed. So you can't discuss the matter among your other commissioners, but you can give comments. So you won't violate the Brown Act.
Okay, thank you. And I also want to know what also the letters that were submitted about the parklets, so we can be transparent so everybody knows what's said. I mean, you guys read them. I didn't hear anything what was sent in, if anything at all. You guys know my position on the parklets, that that I like them and I want to see them continue. But that's all I have to say.
Well, thank you, Planning Commission Chair Delgado. I am sharing, and I probably misspelled these names because it was just a voice.
No. I'm not attending as chair or commissioner. I'm just a citizen of San Juan Bautista, 75 Franklin. I don't want to, I guess what the lawyer said, I can comment. Is that what the take on it, ma'am?
Yeah.
I'm not here as a commissioner. I'm here as a resident, and I support the temporary till September. And the reason I spoke is because I don't want to I asked this question because I don't want to violate the Brown Act, whether I'm a resident or a commissioner or a chair. I just don't want to ruin this session because it's dear to my heart.
So you have the city attorney's opinion. Thank you, Ms. Delgado. Yes, you're allowed to comment. There's no violation. I am showing on my screen, and I hope you can see it, the names of the people who called and left voicemails for us. And it's Burrows or Burrows. So I don't know if I spelled that right, but Marie Burrows, Courtney Burrows, Stephanie Burrows, Brenda Pearson, all left separate messages in support of making parklets permanent. They weren't concerned about people being inebriated in their parklets out in the middle of the street and other things that they had heard. So that's the best I can do to paraphrase their feedback for us for tonight. I also had, let's see if I can find, Cara Vonk and Dan DeVries had a conversation about parklets. And I'm not finding it as I search for it here for some reason. Dan DeVries. No, I'm not seeing it here, but they were in support of the parklets. Their concern was that they be reduced in size. Cara Vonk was expressing concern that they were big and bulky and were blocking the view of the facade of the building. She is not on the meeting today, but that was their concerns. But these are the kinds of concerns that are good food for thought as we move forward. Vonda Guibert has also been on the record more than once citing the concern for the parking that it's taking, as well as staying within the historic guidelines that we have established. So those are the comments I have received, and they've all been passed to the city attorney, and I suppose in the future we should be better prepared to share those comments with the public. So I appreciate the feedback from Jackie Morris Lopez and Yolanda Delgado about being transparent about those comments. I just want to say that they were all in support with Cara Vonk and Vonda Guibert and Dan DeVries, wanting them to be changed in the future if they were to be made permanent. That was my interpretation. So that's the best I can do to make that as transparent as I can at this point. And that's my response to the comments. Mayor, you may check to see if there are any other people who wish to comment on this matter.
Do we have any other public input?
I see no other hands, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Can I have a motion to consider a recommendation by the Planning Commission and approve Resolution 2110, extending the term?
Oh, so moved.
Thank you, Cesar. Thank you, Mary. Seconded by Mary. May I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan,
Yes.
all members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oops. Oh, here we go. Sorry, my bad. H.
Thank you, Mayor. This should be a quick report. We were approached about last fall about the possibility that the developer of the Rancho Vista housing tract, Meritage, had paid the city twice for the same matter. We had added a water correction fee to that development, and then they went and sold bonds to pay the city's fees. Apparently, we were able to confirm that they had paid cash for the water correction fee and then issued bonds for them. So they're demanding repayment of, actually, I think it was more than $400,000 and threatening litigation if we didn't repay their $400,000. What we did was we retained a bond counsel and asked their bond counsel to talk to our bond counsel. The $400,000 figure was based on the current rates established in 2019. Actually, they had paid the rates back in 2017 for the lesser amount of $316. So already our bond counsel has paid for themselves, and we've reduced the amount. And then the city council met with the attorney in closed session twice to discuss negotiation of those fees. Rancho Vista Meritage would not accept less than 316,000. What we were able to do was get an agreement with them there would be no interest levied on the dollar amount owed to them, that we'd be allowed to make 7 payments to them, 6 payments over a 6-month period of time at 45,000 each, 1 final payment at 43,000, allowing $3,000 to pay for our legal fees. So that is the proposal that's coming forward in the form of a settlement agreement that we're waiting for Meritage to draft for the city attorney's review and approval. With that, we are asking the city council to approve this, the terms of this settlement agreement, and staff will move forward and make it so.
Questions, comments, concerns? Councilmember Edge.
No questions, no comment.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores.
No questions, no comments.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
No comments, thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
No comments.
Thank you. Any comments, questions, or concerns from the public? I am going to close public comment. May I please have a motion to approve the settlement with Meritage Homes for the double
So
payment?
moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please, Trish.
Yes. Make sure, am I out there? Okay. Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. I approve resolution 2021-11, approving a letter of agreement and accepting land dedication from Rosa and Edward Loaiza, owners of subdivision at 957 First Street, to be used to construct the First Street roundabout.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for introducing this item, and I have learned in the past few days that it is Eduardo Loaiza. Sorry.
Lo siento, my bad.
Sorry, Eduardo. Okay, so we fixed that. And I did provide the council with an updated staff report, resolution, and agreement provided with feedback from Rosa Loaiza, and I'm not sure that she can be here tonight, but Eddie is here, and so I'll proceed.
Excuse me, Don. His name is not Edward, it's Edmundo.
Eduardo, yes.
Edmundo, not Eduardo. Edmundo.
It's Edmundo.
Yes.
Okay.
EDMUNDO.
Okay. So corrected. All right, okay, thank you. So the city conditioned Meritage to build a roundabout on First Street in La Venino at the entrance of Rancho Vista. The Loaizas own the property east across the street at what we think is 957 First Street, but that's also in discussion. The city realized it needed approximately 5,500 square feet of right-of-way to build the roundabout. The Loaizas agreed to exchange the property for credit against their development objectives. It was processed as a minor subdivision between 2016 and 2019, and a minor subdivision is defined as a subdivision of 4 parcels or less. This is a 16-acre parcel property. Negotiating with Meritage for 6 months, the project design is now 100% complete. Our city engineer has worked tirelessly to make sure that Meritage stands up for what it's due. Unfortunately, it wasn't conditioned to acquire the right-of-way. That was left to the city. So we want to make darn sure that Meritage is building the sidewalks, creating the entrance to the Loaiza's property and their future subdivision, and making all the accoutrements necessary, bringing in the utilities, et cetera. And we have done that, and it's been a fight. And the project is now at 100% complete design, as stamped and approved by our city engineer. So at that point, it was a lot simpler to create an agreement, because back in 2017, an agreement was drafted between the Loaizas, Meritage, and the city, and it was never approved or executed. But now we're in a much simpler position where we can draft an agreement, a letter of agreement, simple letter between the Loaisas and the city, and attempt to reach an agreement for the final design of the right-of-way. So now that we have the right-of-way designed by Meritage, we can finish the project. So the goal in this report is to accept the right-of-way now, the dedication tonight from the Loaisas, and then provide 60 to 90 days to negotiate the value of the 5,000 square feet. That's about the size of a single-family home, a lot in Rancho Vista.
Okay, we lost you.
I think he froze too.
Yes.
We lost him for good.
We
Fine.
did.
Hang on, nope, he's here. Hang on. Patience, people, patience.
He's frozen. He's frozen.
Yep. Yep, this
Here
is,
he is.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Go ahead.
You need to, I lower the volume, so I don't know if you keep.
Can't move, but we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, great. I can't hear you, but.
Okay. Did we lose him again?
No volume, no sound, no vision.
Gone completely.
City engineers in the same room.
So he didn't.
Did you flip slides for me?
Sure.
Thank you.
Here.
Okay, great. Thank you, Julie.
Share screen.
Yeah,
There.
so I need you to share the screen. Oh, it's dead. She
Yeah.
can't share the screen. So, I don't know what's happened. So, okay.
It's all good.
Okay,
It's all good.
so good. So
Don, I
another,
just made you a co-host
thank you.
on Julie's computer.
Right. So that means that I need to get the PowerPoint. That's probably just Stephen Beck's PowerPoint, huh?
Yes.
And Julie is not, she doesn't have access to our network. Okay.
Do it without the PowerPoint.
Yep.
So do it without the PowerPoint. Okay, my apologies to the lasers. So, so the point again is to come forward with an agreement that allows the city to accept the okay, my computer's coming back on. To accept the deed for the right of way and then negotiate the property value. The property value is apparently between 16 and 20, maybe even higher than that per square foot, making it about approximately a value of about 87,000, maybe more. But we need to get to agreement on that. And in the meantime, much as you would with eminent domain, you proceed with the transfer of title so that the project can move forward. So that's our goal, and that's essentially it in a nutshell. With in the end, the Loaisas will receive a credit for the value of the property. And in the meantime, we can take control of the right of way and the roundabout can begin construction. So real quickly, the terms, there are about about 7 terms for the Loaisas to follow. And then there are about 7 terms for the city to follow, ending up with an agreement with the Loaisas that they would be involved in a pre-construction conversation with Meritage, and that their property would be secure at all times with temporary fencing, that they would be included in any logistical changes, traffic control, and design changes made out in the field. So the idea is to include them as a partner moving forward. And in writing this letter of agreement, we're now taking several years of conversations and finally getting them written down so that everyone is on the same page. And before my computer went dead, I tried to, is it back up? Okay, I can switch back over. But the Loaisas are also on this call. I know Eddie is on this call, so he can speak to these issues as well. So with that, Mayor, I'm going to switch back to my computer and I'll meet you over on the other side of the dais.
See you on the other side. Rosa, or Eddie, do you have anything to say? Do you want to chime in now?
Well, yeah, I just want to make sure everything is nice and clear so everybody understands what we have to do, when you have to do, where Meritage has to do. So far, it seems to be clear at this particular moment. So I'm fine with what's happening right now.
Great, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Councilmember Edge, questions, comments, concerns?
I actually don't have any questions or concerns.
Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores?
No questions and concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels?
Thank you. Yeah, this has definitely been an uphill battle, and Don had to kind of get in the middle of the battle halfway up the ridge. So I think he might have finished it off for us. You know, we dealt with it the last 4 years I was on the Planning Commission, and it seemed like it was never going to happen. So I'm really happy to see it's this close, and I'm excited to see this this circle come in. It's going to be a nice entry. It'll be a nice you know, entryway into San Juan, much better than the sign they have over in the corner. And right now it almost looks like you're driving into the city of Rancho Vista, because they have that big sign up there, and you know that's got to go. And we're going to put a nice roundabout. So, yep, happy about this. Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
Yeah, I just kind of want to ditto what Councilman Friels just said. It's been a long time in coming. And the really good thing is this is going to help our traffic. I really feel that it'll help our traffic situation on First Street. It's not a complete answer, but it's a start, and we need to start there. And so I'm all for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have questions, comments, or concerns from the public?
Yes, Mayor, we have Jackie Morris Lopez.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jackie.
Yes, once again, I have a question, not concerns, but just a question. I heard, I have actually two questions. So first of all, I heard the Loaisas would be given a credit. So I guess in order of transparency, what does that mean? Credit, credit towards what? And then the second question, it looks like the land that they're donating, and think, you know, very grateful for them to do that. It looks like it's valued around 100 grand. So is that a static value or dependent on when it's this project is done? Is that value going to increase? Is it a fluid amount?
Thank you very much.
Mayor, we have Jim Liebold.
Thank you. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, good evening, everyone. And thanks for the presentation. I was just wondering, and this is kind of might be very much after the fact, but I remember the discussions when it came up to the traffic control plan. And I know that there was a lot of discussions on whether, you know, to go with a rather extensive reroute or detour that would be, you know, really time consuming, and whether they would go with that or they'd go down to a single lane control, which is fine, but really extends the overall length of the project. I mean, I think everybody would understand that the sooner the project can be built, the lower the costs are going to be and the less impact on everyone. And I was wondering if anyone ever had approached, and I'm sorry if I pronounce this wrong, is it Loaiza? I was wondering if anyone had ever approached the owners of the land that is across the street. And I had no prior knowledge if there was a single landowner or not, but if anyone had ever approached the landowner about creating a temporary detour across their land so that the construction schedule could be compressed as much as possible, a a long inconvenient detour would not be required. And the roadway wouldn't have to be, the roadway that was being rebuilt and the roundabout wouldn't have to be impacted or choked down to one lane so that they could maintain access through there for emergency vehicles and to get in and out of town from that side. It just seems to me that it would be a logical, it would have been a logical thing to check. Thank you.
Very much.
Mayor Jordan, may I speak?
Yes, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. I wasn't sure if you could hear me. Yes, we have, as a matter of fact, discussed the option of having a detour going through Loaiza's property. I first discussed it with Loaiza's, with the property owners. They were okay with the concept. Then I approached the developer and I told them that we would be, we have already discussed it with the property owners. They're willing to cooperate with you guys. And if we could have a detour, a temporary detour plan going through their, and then going through the property, but unfortunately, Meritage, first they were open to the idea. They said they would look into it. They came back and they said that no, it would cost them too much money as far as paving the detour and all that. And then they have to go through starting negotiating again. But anyway, the end result was that no, they want to go ahead. They rather pay for the traffic control plan, the traffic control measures, and have the one way. So that issue, it's a very good, if it would have worked out, it would have been great. But unfortunately, the developer did not accept the option.
Thank you. Don, do you want to answer the first questions? I think they were presented already in the slide. Oh, I think they're up there now.
Okay. Hopefully you can hear me.
Yep, we're good. Or not. Can't hear you. We still can't hear you. Julie, you want to open up your mic? And we can hear him over there.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm not having any COVID anxiety tonight. I just want you guys to know that. I love the meetings.
Poor Don.
Thank you so much for your patience. So the notion of the credit is, this is just the first step. We've gone through the vesting map and now we're working towards the parcel map. And once that's recorded, there will be a whole slew of fees, impact fees. And a traffic impact fee is a good example because this is, as Councilmember Freeman pointed out, a benefit to the whole city because it will help slow traffic on First Street. So the idea was that we would credit them with these future fees that they would pay as their development moves forward, so up to the value of their property. And once we get to that agreed upon value, and that agreed upon value will be determined this year. It really should have been determined back in 2017. So we're going to get to that. That's what the agreement talks about. I've tried to put that up on the screen so you can see the city's terms. And I have a few other slides showing the Loaiza is just a reflection of these terms. That's the point going forward. And that's the point of the credit, is that we anticipate future fees and processing costs for the Loaizas, and we would credit them until we reach the same value as the value of the property. So I hope that answers Jackie Moore's presentation. Yeah.
You know, I just have one more question. I'm
Okay.
sorry, I didn't have anything to say earlier, but I do have a question. We have come to a $16 a square foot for the $5,500 square foot lot. Is that final?
No, that's the point, Mayor. We're giving ourselves 60 days to talk about that. In fact, that number may be low.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I please have a motion to approve resolution 2021-11, approving the letter of agreement and accepting land dedication from Rosa and Edmundo Loaiza, owners of the subdivision at First Street, to be used to construct the First Street roundabout.
So moved.
Thank you very much. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please, Trish.
Yes, Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes.
All members of the council being present, the motion as stated by the maker passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Don, you ready to go again? Discussion items, an update on water and wastewater.
Okay. So, yes, thank you. I'm getting my exercise. That's a good thing. Just real quick on the water updates. Obviously tonight we were focused on launching the 2 projects and the financial plan. So tonight was a big night. The next priority is working with the city of Hollister and refining what our proposed costs in an MOU will look like. That will help us complete our rate study, which is all but 80% complete. Been working on it since October. Then we would be working with our design team and our industrial users. There are opportunities to explore the industrial permit process and fee schedule, especially with Stantec, because Stantec had already initiated chemical limits from the proposed industrial permit process that we were working on. So Stantec will be able to come on board tomorrow and hit the ground running as soon as we get our contract signed. We are moving forward with a firm named Microvi, the biological nitrate treatment plant at Well 6. Hopefully we can get that in place and in agreements to you in March, right? Is that, I'm asking. And we're having a meeting tomorrow, according to Julie. So that must be on my schedule. And we've almost completed the sewer line at San Juan Hollister Road, which will allow us to run our filtration plants at higher speeds like it needs to be. And the same with the lift station there. We've almost got that transferred from Coke Farms into our own PG&E meter. So Julie's done a great job on those 2 projects. And with that, in summary, that's pretty much the things that are happening in water that are not otherwise on your agenda.
Thank you very much.
Did any members of the council, did you guys have any questions?
Councilmember Edge,
No questions, no comment.
Councilmember Flores,
No questions, no comments.
Councilmember Freeman, sorry, Friels.
No questions. Thank you.
Alphabetical order. Thanks, sorry. Councilmember Freeman,
No questions.
thanks. Sorry about that order mix up. I have nothing. Thank you very much, Don. Traffic calming options on First, oh, sorry. Questions from the community?
I see no hands, Mayor.
Thank you. Closing public comment. 6B, traffic calming options. City manager.
So we've had a number of concerns. I've even came across one from Commissioner Maderos back in November about the speed of traffic on First Street. But we get complaints about other streets too, but First Street has been the predominant one. Councilmember Edge forwarded to me a complaint from a citizen on the same topic, which I don't have in front of me to read, but will be made part of the record. The new roundabout on First Street has to be completed this year, and it's really going to calm down traffic. So it's hard to study this matter right now in light of the fact that we have the roundabout coming on board. There are 2 others planned, there's a roundabout planned for the intersection of Donner and Third at the other entrance to Rancho Vista, pending the development of that hillside entitlement. So we have townhomes approved between the wastewater treatment plant and Third Street, and they're to add the last piece to that financing needed to complete a second roundabout in the neighborhood. And then there's a third roundabout planned on the other side of town on the Alameda. So these things are in the works, but the First Street roundabout is ready to go forward as of tonight. So that is the first step we're going to take in calming traffic on First Street. Another issue to consider is the issue of COVID and the reduced amount of traffic. Are people going to continue to work from home? Will traffic flows continue to be as low as they are? And you would want to study traffic on First Street, especially during the harvest seasons and when school is in session, to make sure that you're taking the pulse at its highest use. But furthermore, I wanted just to share with the council that what other cities do briefly, and there is a whole program that's probably 25 years old now. It's referred to as Complete Streets. And you'll notice when we worked on the Third Street project, how we used bulb outs and other design tools to control traffic. We can control traffic with speed bumps and cops, but that's really kind of a 1920s model. It's better to redesign our streets for people with wider sidewalks, reduce the distance in intersection crossings by creating those bulb outs, causing the traffic to move more slowly. So whenever we have a chance, like we did in Third Street, to completely redesign the project, we include not just the water and sewer and other utilities, but also on the surface traffic calming. So notice that other cities have a traffic calming policy and a traffic calming ordinance. And there's a whole slew of ideas that a city can do to implement those. And I provided links to those in the staff report. Traffic calming tools do include not just speed bumps, but as we've seen, speed humps, and other ways to calm traffic, whether it's signs, whether it's one of the speed signs that you permanently mount with solar power to tell people how fast they're traveling because they don't realize, or whether it's physical things like speed bumps and narrowing of the street. So we can go to the next slide. Could you just hit the page down for me? Or whichever one works. Great. So, oh no, I'm still at the same slide. There we go. This is an example, and it's a little bit hard to read for the city of Seaside. They get so many traffic control requests there that they've actually formed a traffic calming committee of the city council. But it's a bit of a flow chart to show the different steps that are taken that involve the city engineer to come to a determination if a phase 1 traffic calming implementation is necessary. And in their traffic calming ordinance, they define what a phase 1 traffic calming steps to be taken are. And I bring this example from Seaside because of a temporary method that the Transportation Authority of Monterey County did, partnering with Seaside. Instead of going to the expense of building the curb and gutter and actually making the street narrower, they tried a pilot project by painting stripes, yellow stripes on the street that indicate where the sidewalks would go. And they narrow the street with paint first and put it in crosswalks, et cetera. And they found that using this pilot program demonstrated to them that the physical changes would be as effective as the painted efforts. So that's a design pilot project that could be tested on First Street at much less cost than redesigning the street like we did on Third Street. But this is just an example for the council's information on what some cities do to address traffic and speed issues. This traffic calming study that goes on to determine what happens. Now, we did that on 4th Street when we put in the speed humps, and the traffic study did not justify speed bumps. We went in and installed the speed humps anyway, and that was Julie and my first project in the city. And the first complaint was they're not humpy enough. The second complaint was, why don't I get those in my neighborhood? So someone from over in the Creek Bridge development said, when can I get some speed humps? So it's interesting to see how this goes. And I don't want to make light of the danger and the need for better enforcement if that's all we have right now. But these are other tools that we can use to address traffic calming. And then I had a few links on the next slide, Julie, that shows what a traffic calming can do in the way of paint. You can see the addition of bike lanes and a center turn lane on this 4-lane road before and after on the complete streets idea. And then for those who are interested, we won't do it tonight. It's been a long night for some of us. The city of Salinas has this traffic calming website that's really cool. And in downtown Salinas, Riker Street parallels Main Street, and they put in something called traffic circles, which are much smaller than roundabouts, but they cause the traffic to pause and roll around them, and they are effective. So this is another good way that we might be able to change First Street by putting in traffic circles with a small raised curb that causes the traffic to slow down as it comes through the neighborhoods. So we are keenly aware of the need for traffic calming in our city. And I just wanted to bring an array of solutions rather than the old fallback of speed bumps and cops and just try and introduce to the city council and the community tonight a broader perspective. There's a lot of choices out there that we can move forward with for traffic calming purposes. So with that, it would be great to have the city council weigh in. Councilmember Freeze asked in the January meeting that this matter come forward, so maybe Scott wants to start us off. Mayor, but I'll let the mayor start us off because she's the mayor.
Go ahead, Councilmember Fields.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'm so happy it's in front of us. I was approached by, I'd say at least 3 people on First Street. Some folks on the south side of the barrier, and then I did talk to, David Medeiros, and I have brought this up a couple times amongst ourselves. And I know during probably by a planning commission meeting while we were sitting there. And I live on Via Serra, so I get to watch, the traffic, and I've seen some pretty amazing speeds go through that little section. It seems like a friend of mine I were talking the other day, was like, there must be signs on the ends of town that say, that us locals can't identify or can't see, says, welcome to San Juan, stop signs are optional, and, put the hammer down, because it's pretty crazy how fast people move. But hopefully I'm looking to see participants. I know we had a handful of people that wanted to talk. I don't know if any of them sent in emails. Hopefully they did. If they didn't, if they don't feel comfortable speaking, but I know I know Mike Ponce's on, and maybe a couple other folks who live on the barrier side of First Street. But I'm gonna just shut up now so they can get a chance to talk. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Edge.
Yeah, I live on the opposite side of Scott Friels. And so, they start up, at Via Serra, and then they come past Via Padre. And a lot of times they go past that barrier on the wrong side, go all the way down First Street, turn on San Jose Street, they turn on 2nd Street, then Franklin, and then they go out. Sometimes they go out and they get on to 156, and sometimes they keep going straight. I did try to follow people a couple of times, but they go so darn fast. But it's getting to be dangerous. And then there is a blind spot at Via Serra. The sidewalks end on the west side right there. And so some people cross, and when people are coming south on First Street, coming in, driving so fast, somebody's going to get hit one of these days, because it is a very blind spot. And we got a letter from one of the moms. She lives on First Street, and she's got 2 little guys, and her name is Abanda. I can't remember her last name, but she sees it all the time also. And it's hard when you have little ones. It's really dangerous. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Flores?
No comments. So I agree with the traffic problem over there.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
I live also very close to First Street, and I can see the corner of First and North from my front yard. And Scott's right. The people, sometimes they don't hardly even slow down for that stop sign there. And you know, it's really quite dangerous. I've had, like Scott, I've had at least 4 or 5 people come talk to me about it. Some on the other side of the barrier, some close to Councilperson Edge and Friels, and the complaints are all the same. It's excessive speed and the running of the stop signs, excuse me. And I'm wondering if there's something that the complete streets idea is fantastic. I think it's great. It's worked well on 3rd Street, but it's a long-term solution. I'm wondering if we can't move the little sign or buy another flashing sign and put it on top of the speed limit sign on 1st Street. But you know, and show the people their speed as they're heading into the stop sign. So
downplaying speed.
use that as some sort of nag, if you will, to slow them down. And that can be done relatively quickly and inexpensively. And so I'm looking for something like that to speed the process up while we do the long term. Thank you.
Thank you. Public comment?
Yes, we have Sophia Ponce.
Sophia, go ahead.
Actually, this is Michael Ponce.
Hey,
803.
Michael.
Hi, how you doing? 803 First Street. Yeah, I just wanted to express that, yes, that on our section of First Street, we do have a traffic safety problem. I'm talking about the section from San Jose to Monterey. Most common issue is, like everybody's saying, speeding, and we also have wrong way traffic coming in right there at the barrier. A lot of people just come straight through at, like Scott says, unbelievable speeds. They don't even stop at the stop sign right there at First Street. And then speeding also, they also start from San Jose to Monterey, they just come straight through and blow through that stop sign at the barrier, also going out of town. And I know that city manager just mentioned that speed bumps are 1920s model, but I think that if we do put some speed bumps and humps, which I didn't know there was a difference. I guess the bumps are narrow and higher, and I think they will work better at a stop sign. And then the humps to help slow down traffic on our street, you know, probably would be a good solution. I know that the sheriff is limited to time here in town, and maybe if we can talk to the sheriff and ask him to change his resting spot under the shady tree by the VFW and maybe rest up on First Street, since we do have some shady trees here also. And maybe if he actually handed out a few tickets and the word got out, maybe that would help to solve the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Anybody else?
I see no other hands, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Update on COVID-19? Sorry, now I'm starting to feel bad asking you to keep talking.
No, this is all good. This is, I only have 2 slides left, I guess. Today, we're watching our county come down. You can see in this slide that came out this afternoon that our numbers are coming down as they are across the state. The positivity rate per 100,000 is 7.3%, and the new cases is 22.3. So on the next slide, that reminds us that notice the purple tint to the colors. We're trying to get from 24.3 on the state's website today down to 7. So we still have some work to do, hence the blue X. And then the 7.3 is good, it's less than 8. So if we can get down below the 7 per 100,000 new cases, then we can start to qualify for the red tier. So it's kind of hard to see in this slide, but I've listed the sports that are eligible to begin anew under the purple colors. The question came out recently about, can the kids play baseball? And the answer was no, they can play baseball when we get to the red tier. They can meet as a team and they can go through their physical training programs, their conditioning, but they're unable to pick up the ball and toss it around or share a bat. So that's where we are. As long as we're in the purple tier, we're still subject to these restrictions. Opening schools in conversation with the school district, the teachers unions are being really strict about having all the teachers vaccinated first. And unless that vaccination starts to come quicker to us, that may take a while to occur. So right now, at least in my most recent conversation, we weren't sure if the schools were going to be able to reopen this year, but if certainly in August, they would be ready to go. As the council knows, we've been implementing and enforcing County Ordinance 1017 that was adopted shortly after the new year. Business owners can be fined as much as $10,000 per day, and property owners as well. We've been enforcing one business in town that I saw open Sunday afternoon at 4 p.m. And sure enough, they were cited, both the business owner and the property owner, for 6 days in a row. Both received close to $100,000 in fines at this time. We have heard from the property owner, and the ABC is hot on the tail of the business owner and the alcohol license. They're contemplating whether or not they can rescind the ability of that business to serve alcohol on its parklet. What I saw Sunday afternoon, they weren't even serving on the parklet, they were simply serving indoors. So this is a known case, and the mayor has sat on a couple enforcement phone calls about the bar at 205 3rd Street. So I think she can help others understand in a private mode what we're doing and all the trouble that we're going to. So with that, I don't have a lot of other COVID issues to talk about. We have these variations and a lot of unknowns, and a lot of speculation, but that's what it is. Again, this is the first time our country's had COVID, so we're all still going by the seat of our pants a little bit, but things are getting better, and that's the good news. And of course, we have the parklet issue, which we've already discussed tonight. So that's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you very much. And wait, look, pickleball. Pickleball's up there
Pickleball is up there. So
in the purple.
So
However.
I talked. So and you also talked to the superintendent, and you probably know, Mayor, and then I've been through the same thing with the National Interscholastic Cycling Association. There are USA guidelines. There's even Pickleball USA guidelines. And I was trying to convince the superintendent, maybe she could consider opening the pickleball courts with some guarantee that those national guidelines would be followed by the court users.
We're working on it. Thank you
Okay.
very much. Questions, comments, and concerns from the council? Councilmember Edge.
No questions, no comments. Thank you for the report, City Manager.
Thank you. Councilmember, Vice Mayor Flores.
No questions, no comments. Thank you, Don.
Thank you. Councilmember Friels.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate the report. And I did see the other day, the Medina, geez, I've known him his whole life. One of our county supervisors, Medina, did a quick study. It looks like we're kind of getting a shaft here in San Benito County. Most counties get up to 10% allotment. We're getting 4%. But it sounds like Mark Medina's in Sacramento raising some hell, which is good to hear. So hang in there, everybody, and get your vaccines if you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman.
Just like to follow up on what Scott said. That's all true. This week we just moved to a new tier, but I don't know how much good it's going to do until we get some more doses of the vaccine. So I'm looking forward to getting it. Other than that, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, or concerns from the public?
I do not see any hands, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Closing public comment. Any comments from city council?
I have something if I could. I'll
Hang on,
make-
hang
I'll
on.
make it.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to dedicate tonight's meeting to a lifelong friend of mine that we lost this month. Everybody knows him as Bobo, but his name was Vincent Bobo Pinuela Jr. And unfortunately, Bobo succumbed to a vehicle accident this month. I grew up across the street from him on Washington Street, and I spent a lot of time touring his PG&E power plant that he built when he was a young man, and he always used to run into each other at yard sales and swap meets and compare our scores. And he was very knowledgeable in a lot of antiques and collectibles that were had anything to do with electricity. He was fascinated, and I just well, I'm gonna miss seeing him. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott. Councilmember Edge.
Just, we had a great meeting. There was a lot we covered, and I just wanted to share that through LULAC, we had with our task force, we had a meeting with Jimmy Panetta, and he's trying to get us more vaccines. So, I think all of us, our supervisors and us included, we've all been working, contacting our Assembly member Rivas and our Senator Caballero, and they're all working at trying to get us more. And as Scott said, we're only getting 44%, which is not very much. And so, they're trying to increase that. And the supervisors voted to write this letter to the governor, and Mark Medina decided to drive it over rather than mail it. So, yeah. That's all I have to share.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Vice Mayor Flores?
Oh, no comments. Good meeting, a lot of information. We're moving forward.
Thank you. Councilmember Freeman?
Just like to follow up on Scott. I also knew Bobo and miss him a lot. And also following up on everybody else, it was we got a lot accomplished tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Any final thoughts from our city manager?
I promise we'll work on our technology skills. And we'll be back in action on the 23rd to talk about our strategic plan and our budget. So thanks for hanging in there with me tonight.
Thank you. Comments from city attorney?
Nothing.
Thank you. Comments from our city clerk, deputy city clerk?
No, nothing. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn now.
So moved.
Thank you very much. May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
You're muted.
Sorry. Councilmember Edge,
Yes.
Councilmember Flores,
Yes.
Councilmember Friels,
Yes.
Councilmember Freeman,
Yes.
Mayor Jordan.
Yes. Thank you
All members
all.
of the- Thank you.
Everybody have a good evening.
Thank
Night.
you. Good night.
Night.
Thanks, Don. You did good.